When your cat suddenly stares at you for no reason, do you actually know what that means? Yes, it can feel random or even a little cute at first. But behind that silent stare, there is something deeper that most people miss. It is one of the most emotionally loaded ways your cat tries to understand and connect with you, and if you ignore it or respond the wrong way, which most owners do, you might miss moments where your cat is quietly trying to build trust with you. Let us start with what that stare really means. Have you ever caught your cat sitting across the room just staring at you without moving? Most people think it is random, like the cat is just being strange for no reason. But here is what is actually happening. That stare is not random at all. It is focused attention. Cats do not waste energy without purpose. Every moment of stillness is a decision. Think about that for a second. What you see as nothing is actually your cat observing, measuring, processing. This is where most owners get it wrong. They look away or ignore it. But to your cat, that moment mattered. And by the way, if your cat ever stares at you and then slowly blinks or looks away, softly do not brush it off. We will come back to what that really means later, because it is one of the most important signals your cat can give you. Have you ever noticed your cat stares longer when you are calm versus when you are busy? Most people assume cats do not really analyze human behavior that deeply. Here is what is actually happening. A 2020 study from the University of Sussex found that cats use eye contact and slow blinking as a form of intentional social communication, and cats who receive relaxed eye contact back are more likely to approach and engage. But here's what that means. Emotionally, your cat is not just looking at you, they are studying you. Animal cognition research shows that cats can read subtle human cues, including posture, tone, and facial tension. So, when your cat stares at you, they are trying to understand your state. Think about that for a second. They are checking if you are safe, if the environment is safe, if they can relax around you. And when you respond calmly, you are telling them yes. Have you ever noticed your cat staring at you and then coming closer to rub against you? Most people think it is just affection. Here is what is actually happening. Cats have scent glands on their cheeks, forehead, and body. When they rub against you, they leave invisible markers that say, this is familiar, this is safe. But here is where it gets even more meaningful. That stare often comes before the contact. They are deciding, then confirming. Think about that for a second. They look at you, then they claim you. You're not just in their space, you are part of it. And when your cat does this repeatedly, they are building a shared identity with you. That is not casual behavior, that is bonding. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. Have you ever wondered why cats communicate so quietly compared to other animals? Most people think it is just personality. Here is what is actually happening in the wild. Cats survive by avoiding attention. Loud signals attract danger, so they evolved to communicate through stillness, eye contact, and micro movements. A behavioral ecology study from the University of Edinburgh found that cats rely heavily on subtle visual signals to assess safety without exposing themselves. Now here is the emotional shift. Your cat is using that same ancient system with you. Think about that. Instead of loud, obvious communication, they choose silence, stare, pause, slow movement, which means when your cat looks at you like that, they are trusting you to understand something quiet. That is not distance, that is refinement. Have you ever noticed your cat does not stare at everyone the same way? Most people assume cats treat all humans similarly. Here is what is actually happening. Cats are highly selective. With attention, behavioral studies show that cats adjust their gaze and interaction depending on trust levels. They do not hold prolonged soft eye contact with strangers. They avoid it. So when your cat stares at you calmly, that is not random, that is chosen. Think about that for a second. Out of everyone in your environment, they are watching you, focusing on you, trying to understand you. And here is where it gets more powerful. Attention is a form of trust, because in the wild, attention can be risky. So when your cat gives it to you, they are choosing you. Have you ever noticed your cat staring at you and then slowly closing their eyes? Here is what most people never realize. That moment is not just relaxation, it is communication. Remember earlier when it was mentioned that if your cat stares and then blinks slowly, it means something deeper. This is what that means. Researchers who study feline behavior call this a slow blink signal. It is a non-threatening gesture that signals trust and safety. But here is the emotional Truth, your cat is letting their guard down in front of you. Think about that. Closing their eyes means losing visual awareness, which goes against every survival instinct they have, and yet they do it while looking at you. That is not random, that is trust. That is your cat saying, I feel safe enough to be vulnerable here, and when you return that slow blink, you are answering them in their language. Now here is something most people overlook. What happens when your cat stops looking at you like that? Stops staring, calmly stops blinking slowly. Most people do not notice, but here is what is actually happening. Behavioral scientists have observed that when cats feel stressed, disconnected, or unwell, they reduce subtle social behaviors first, not the obvious ones, the quiet ones. Think about that for a second. The absence of attention, the absence of that stare means something has changed. This is where your awareness matters most. Watch for it, stay present, because those silent moments are where the bond lives. Do not ignore. It's so when your cat stares at you like they know something you do not, are they being strange, or are they trying to tell you something? Because now you know that stare was never empty. It was never random. It was awareness. It was connection. It was trust. That is not a cat just looking at you. That is a cat choosing to understand you and that quiet moment. It was never small to them, and it should not be small to you either.